All right, I'm at the Grand Villa here with Giljack.
What's up, guys?
We are going to be playing some poker tonight, which is luck. Second day in Canada.
Poker.
Let's go run some good. We have a 10K side bet. Whoever wins the most wins the other 10K.
Canadian dollars, so it's like 20 bucks in US dollars.
Jokes.
We sit down at the table and look down at 4 or 5 of spades, and everyone prepare for this vlog. There's a lot of mistakes made that hopefully you guys can learn from and not recreate. We go on full tilt after this hand. So I raised it up from middle position to $12, and the cutoff decides to call. The flop is ace, king, 10. Horrible for our hand, but great for our range. So we decide to bet $15, and then the cutoff decides to do something pretty funky. He raises to $30, a min raise. I think most of the time people will just automatically muck here, but I want to seek opportunity in every pot, and I think this is a sign of weakness. Our opponent could have a queen or a jack for a gutter ball, and he's min raising just to see where he's at and to take the pot down now. So I think it would be best here to 3-bet, and if our opponent calls us, we'll give up. Obviously, we're holding cards that we want our opponent to have, but the whole point of this re-raise is to attack the weakness of the sizing of his raise. So we put in that raise, and we make it $80, and our opponent folds. And I'm really proud of this spot because sometimes I would just release here and not really, go broke in a nothing pot. But we seize the opportunity and we take down a few bucks, and we're on to the next hand, which makes this whole vlog go down in flames. And if you're looking for action online, join the Cheddar Club by clicking the link in the bio. If you refer a friend or they refer another friend, you guys all get bonuses, so sign up, link in bio. In this video, you're going to see us peel pocket kings in back-to-back hands. The first time, we're on the button straddle for $6. There's 4 callers, and we decide to raise it up to 40, and everyone folds. And then the very next hand, in the cutoff, we peel pocket kings again. It's going to start off with middle position, raising up to $15. He's an action player, and I decided to 3-bet to $50 in position. The flop comes ace, queen, 10 with 2 spades. When our opponent checks to us, there's an overcard to the board, and we're going to check back. We don't need a value on ourselves versus another ace. I don't think you'll ever fold that. And if we hit our gutter ball, we'll have the nuts, and we can go for value then. So we check back, and the turn is the 6 of diamonds. Our opponent bets $65, and I think we should always be calling here. There's no real rocket science to this. He could have any type of hand here, any holding. He's an action player. So I put in the call. The pot has blossomed up to 230 bucks, and now the river comes the king of diamonds. So now we lose to any jack, but we do have a set. He goes all in for $100, and I guess there is a backdoor flush draw, but I think that's very unlikely, and we're only losing to one hand that would make sense, and that would be a jack holding. So we put in the chips, and he has a hand that puts me on full tilt, guys. 9-3 of diamonds for the backdoor flush draw. And we lose this hand, and this is where everything spirals down, so do not recreate what you see next. And if you guys want to support me, make sure you subscribe and turn notifications for the next upcoming vlog. All right, buckle your seatbelts. The first player to act decides to limp for $5, and we're going to re-raise it to $15 with the okay hand, jack, 9 of spades. It folds to the middle position player, and he decides to jam for $115 effective. It folds all the way to me, and guess what I do now? I start cutting out chips and counting them, and I say out loud that I'm going to give him some action. What the hell are you doing, Funky? Maybe this is okay at a home game, and, money's not an issue to you, but this is completely lighting money on fire. I've totally changed my outlook on how I brand myself and how I look at the poker game, and I have a bankroll now. And this was in the midst of me learning all that stuff, so leave your criticism in the comments. I'm okay with all of it. So we decided to put in $100 more, and we're going to a flop, which comes jack high. We hit our jack, we get to the river, and our opponent flips over pocket kings. So, yep, goodbye to some of the money that we had left, and we're going to reload and get into the next hand. In this next hand, there's a straddle on the button for $6, and I act first. I look down at king 8 of clubs, and I think I can release this a lot in the small blind, but we decide to pounce and take advantage of the suited king. So we decide to make it $20. There's 2 callers, and then it gets to the late position action player from the last hand who had 9-3 of diamonds, and he raises to $65. It folds to me, and taking consideration that he's an action player, an absolute whale will play any 2 cards. I decided to make a very exploitative all-in to just take down all the dead money. There's $105 in the middle that I can take down now. So that is my thought process in the moment. So I decided to jam, and it folds all the way back to our opponent, and he tank calls. So he takes a minute to call us. which is pretty absurd because we go to the flop, which is queen, 4, 5, queen, king. We hit top pair on the river. He waits for us to show. We show him the king 8, where we got lucky in the river, and he turns over pocket aces for the slow roll. So, I mean, I'm obviously just lighting money on fire now, but this is just something I want to share because this is a big part of my journey and learning how to bankroll manage and treat money like it's worth something than acting like it's nothing. And I think it's been a really good learning curve for me as a human being. So yeah, and then the very next hand after this, we peel pocket aces. So I look like a complete maniac right now, and the action pretty much goes like this. The guy we had jack 9 of spades against, his pocket kings, he decides to jam for a little under 125 bucks, and we just put in the call, and we end up winning on a board that runs out clean, and we scoop some profit, but we're still down so much from our extreme punting, which I do not advise anyone copy. It's funny because we're calling the guy in seat 9 an action player, but it's actually us who's the action player. We're the whale at the table, shoving with king 8 suited, jack 9 suited. I do not know why my brain does this, but we've learned a lot. Gil waves me down and lets me know that there's a spot open on his table. We're always trying to play together and exchange chips and have some fun. We really do love punting into each other's stacks. As we take a seat at this table, we're there for about 35 minutes before we look at our next hand. The opponent to our left is drunk. He's having a great time. We're chatting, we're laughing, we're showing all our bluff cards, and then we get into a big pot against him and Gil. We look down at 7-6 suited in middle position. Gil decided to put the under the gun straddle on for $6, and then it folds to me, and we raise it up to 30 bucks. We end up getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 callers. We're going 6 ways to a flop with $180 in the middle. The flop is 7, 8, 5 with all diamonds. We have an open-ended straight draw and middle pair, so not a lot going on for us. And the action starts instantly. The small blind decides to lead jam into 5 other players for $80. There's one fold, and now it's on us, and this feels like a flush draw. I know that doesn't seem like it is at first glance, but if you think about it longer, an ace of diamonds could definitely find a jam here, or the king of diamonds, and sometimes the queen of diamonds, depending on the player types and how the action has been that night. So I think pair with the open-ended straight draw might be viable. A little bit of a punt, but we put in the call. And right as I put my chips out, our opponent to the left, the one we just mentioned before, he puts in the jam for it looks like around $150. It folds all the way around back to me, and now we are obligated to call this. It's just so cheap to win such a large pot. And most of the time I would be folding this, but the action just feels way too fun and heavy to not put this in. So I think taking a step back from the player dynamics, I could find a fold here sometimes, and I think I might make it again if I was sitting back in this spot exactly. So we get a count, and it's actually $180, and I put in the chips. So there's around $600 in the middle, and the turn is the 6 of hearts. This is not a very good card because now any 9 and any 4 make a straight. The river comes off the 3 of spades, and it starts on with the small blind jammer. He shows ace-8 offsuit with no diamond for top pair. We show our 2 pair, and the action player to our left had the ace of diamonds with a pair of 5s. So we got very, very lucky. We dodged a lot of cards, and we hit our 2 pair, and we're going to scoop this massive pot with a marginal hand and with a bad call. That's poker for you sometimes. Sometimes the dumb get rewarded. All right, we're going to wrap up this crazy vlog with the ace of diamonds and queen of spades in early position. I raise it up to $12, and then the action player to our left, he makes it $24 for the 3-bet. So now it folds all the way to giljack on the button, and he puts in the 4-bet. He makes it $75. And now it's on us. We're in between 2 players who can be very wide. Our opponent to our left min-raised us, which is a sign of weakness. I don't think you'd ever do this with aces, kings, or queens, or ace-king. I think you'd find a more healthy sizing of 3x. And I think Gil knows that our opponent is wide as well. I think Gil sees what I see, and I think Gil is much wider with his range here. He's not going to have as strong hands as we do. I think the best move here is to 5-bet jam. He is around 300 behind, and there's around $100 of dead money. So I think this is a profitable jam to do sometimes. I'd rather have ace-king. I wouldn't do this with ace-jack unless I had a very, very strong read, but ace-queen is probably going to be the widest range I have here in this very specific situation. So we decide to take an exploitative slash risky route, and we're going to go all in for $300. We're going to try and take down this pot right now. So we jam, and that's exactly what we do. Both the early position 2 player and Gil snap fold, and we collect $100 of profit.